Thank you for downloading the Wado Radio Podcast. If you love what you're hearing, leave a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear your feedback, and it helps expose others to the show. Thank you, and God bless.
This podcast is brought to you by Covenant Eyes. The internet can be a dangerous place for unguarded eyes and hearts. Covenant Eyes provides the services that protect against the evils and temptations that can be found on the World Wide Web. Visit wadoradio.com/resources for more information about our affiliate, Covenant Eyes.
Everybody lends an ear. I want to thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all.
Yes, of course, it's DJ Wado. It's the Wado Radio Show. And we're doing something a little bit different today. We're going to give you a 2-for-1 in this full interview. So we had a chance to sit down with Canon when he was out here in Jersey for the Sessions Tour. And also a couple days prior to that, we sat down with Ezekiel at the Poets in Autumn Tour. And so this past couple of weeks has been very, very busy. We had the Kingdom Choice Awards. Obviously, you know, I mentioned those two tours. We had Fuel Conference in between that. Last weekend, we were just in Allentown, Pennsylvania with No Malice and Reconcile and Ruslan. So it's just been a lot of stuff going on. And I just want to thank you guys for your support, for your prayers. You guys have really been sharing a lot of our content, particularly the videos we've been putting up on YouTube. And so I want to thank you all for that as well. But yeah, 2-for-1 today. Canon and Ezekiel, and these are two very important conversations. The conversation with Canon, we're talking a lot about race and how that is really impacting what's going on in the Christian music industry right now. And then our conversation with Ezekiel kind of hit a couple of things. One, obviously, you know, him and Jackie Hill Perry and Preston and you know, even I throw a Propaganda in there, Joe Solomon, you know, all of those poets, Chris Webb, obviously, you know, all of the kind of the top poets in our space right now talk a lot about social justice and those types of issues. And so, you know, Ezekiel really gives his framework for why he personally feels the need to do that. And then, you know, we also talk about family a bit because that is kind of the unspoken thing that influences all of us that are a part of this scene. So again, sit back, enjoy these interviews. We're going to start with Canon, and then we'll go into Ezekiel. Of course, it's DJ Wado. It's the Wado Radio Show. We are backstage at the Sessions Tour.
Yes.
In New Jersey.
Thanks for showing up, dog.
With Canon, man. Hey, bro, listen. Hey, hold up, though, bro. I'm going to always show up for you, man, because you showed up for me big time when we first started live at Ja Rockin'. Canon was the first dude to come through when we did live at Ja Rockin'.
Crazy.
That was Mad Haven, bro. That's how long ago that was.
Real talk, though, I never said this, but ever since then, I had been waiting for another invite, bro. I was like, maybe I said something wrong. Remember I did something I was supposed to do, but I never got invited back. But, man.
Nah, man.
I appreciate
you. Always got the invite, bro.
I appreciate you, man.
You always got the invite, man.
Thank you.
Even when you 50 and on a cane, I don't know if I'm going to still be doing this, but you got the invite.
Thank you, dog. That's love.
Yeah, man. Hey, so your first headlining tour, man.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, bro. I mean, you've obviously toured extensively. You've been everywhere, but
it's just different. I mean, it's nerve-wracking at first because I'm like, man, who gonna come? Who's gonna? Maybe, man, we probably not gonna have a lot of numbers. Just, you know, not that many people gonna come out. Probably a lot of people don't know about it. Man, you know, it's not the biggest budgeted tour, but when we working with what we get, like, that's how I was thinking at first.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, God has given me an audience that will listen. God has given me an audience that appreciates what I have to say and the music that I make. And, man, for people to give so much time and energy to just that, I don't care about the 500 that aren't there. I care about the people that showed up.
Sure.
Because they could have been anywhere else, man. And, I mean, it's been great so far, man. I've been enjoying it, man. I've had the opportunity to speak to each individual person that has walked through that door and actually have real conversations with them. Like this tour has been more than just come in, we'll take pictures and autographs, and then y'all bounce and we bounce. Like, no, like I've been able to have real conversations with people and hear their stories. So that impacts me more than just like a transactional, hey, how you doing? I love your music, man. Peace, appreciate you. Bye. Like it's been so much more impactful. So I really appreciate this tour.
That meet and greet was lit. Like,
oh man, they didn't even get me started, man. Oh man, it was a couple people up in there that was about to open up a can of worms. I was like, oh man, if I could only just unpack so much of what they're talking about, the topics that they were bringing.
Yeah,
man, I loved it. I enjoyed it. So
hey, so speaking of a can of worms, I wanted to ask you about this can of worms that you opened on Twitter.
They opened it. All I did was smell the worms and was like, y'all know these is worms, right? All I did was just open that mug. I just looked in and
hey,
exposed what was there.
I'm gonna read a few of these tweets. We'll put them up on the screen too, so people can see them. But I want to read a few of these and just get your thoughts. You said it's ironic that the culture asks for truth and substance via our music platforms, but when it's given, the culture throws the heaviest stones. Every artist carries a different agenda and a typical conviction, which doesn't always surround a typical gospel-centered conversation. If you spend a real day with me, you see not every moment is about a Bible verse. It may be about other concerns, some political. I'm not one for lowering expectations of the Christian artist. I'm about setting realistic ones. We aren't your pastors. We assist musically. We create conversations about what we should draw attention to and provide insight on the matters. Not every matter will be a sermon, though.
That makes me sound so much better.
Hearing it out loud?
Hearing it out loud in my head. The way it sounded in my head sounded completely different.
What sparked this, though?
I had a conversation with somebody the night before. Was talking about just the industry and just the different pockets of the Christian industry. And it's funny because it's like the conversation of inequality or unequal opportunities for, like black rappers.
Yeah.
In these like white Christian markets, it's a conversation that's whispered a lot, but nobody's willing to just say, "Hey, y'all, look, we've been here for a while. Y'all listen to our music. Y'all been like buying our music. Y'all been buying our CDs. Y'all been downloading our songs and streaming them and whatnot. But we can't never get on y'all stages."
Wow.
And it's like, why? You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do we have to beat down why we got to convince y'all so much to get here? And
when you say our stages, be specific for cause just the average fan. They're like, well, you're on a tour. I saw you at this festival on this stage over here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. When I mean stages, what I mean is, every artist is given a platform.
Sure.
And a platform that we should be able to steward well. However, we have so many artists that work so hard. And are given so much truth. I know a lot of artists who have the most honest and truthful music that it penetrates when you listen.
Yeah.
But then I hear some other music that we sing in the churches, and it really just feel like fluff. And I'm like, all right, do we just rotate these songs because they just make us feel good, and it's the culture, or are we just rotating them because we feel like they're safe?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm tired of playing the safe card, and I feel like the industry has gotten so used to the safest amount of music, the safest kind of music, the safest look for the individual. If you have a certain, appearance, I'm like, look, I may not look like you, I may not sound like you, but look, my music still has weighty truth. And I'm like, I question at a certain point now, what do you want? Do you want truthful music? Do you want music that points people back to God, or do you just want music that feels good? Same songs you're gonna hear every Sunday. Yeah. And so, when I say stages, I mean when we go out and do these shows or try to get on these shows with at festivals and whatnot, and you have the big major stage. Yeah. Because I guarantee you ain't no black people on. All right. Yeah. You got the big major stage, the main stage. All right, and then you have the semi-main stage, which is like all of the youth group, all the bands that play at all the youth groups, they there at that stage. And then you got our stage that may barely have the bare minimum of resources on the stage. Wow. And it's like, why is it like that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, do we got to keep proving ourselves? There's people on our stages, I can guarantee you have a bigger platform than some of the other ones, and that have sold more albums or sold more music than some of the other ones on the other stages. But I'm like, why do we not give the same opportunity of resources at these other platforms? And so, at the end of the day, I'm gonna continue to bring on the issue. But I remember my brother told me, he's like, hey bro, the reality is something I learned. It's like, nobody cares. Keep trying. Wow. like nobody cares. Keep going. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, he specifically said, nobody cares. Work harder. You know what I'm saying? And that was the truth. Nobody's gonna care as much as I do about my music getting to where I wanted to go. And I'm just like, work harder or work at it differently. And so, but it is frustrating when you see a divide, even in the Christian market. You know what I'm saying? Award shows, you name it. Like it's a divide. I look around and I'm like, dang, man, like there ain't a lot of people in here.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, why not? Dang, I go to some certain churches and I'm like, dang, ain't no black pastors on staff.
Wow.
Dang. Wow. Y'all talk a lot about divide. Y'all talk a lot about bringing the culture together, bringing people together, bringing all of God's people together, all races together. But you won't even put a black pastor on your staff. What is, like, what, you know? And so I say these things because, not to stir nothing up, but I'm just like, if we talking about equality and bringing people to a clearer perspective of what God calls the body, then we have to actually look into the face of the very things that are dividing us.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so people may say all day, like, yo, racism isn't here no more. I'm like, what? You know, or they may say all day, like, you know, racism isn't the same as it used to be. Things have gotten better. I'm like, yeah, but the ideologies of white supremacy and just the control and the authority that my white brothers and sisters still have, a lot of that is still shown in the very offices and in churches that we have still. Yeah. And so I'm just like, man, if we're gonna be about that life, about racial reconciliation, let's really be about that life. Let's really be about that life. Invite other artists on those stages. Invite or allow black pastors to pastor predominantly white churches.
Yes.
I'm like, when you see that happen, I'm like, hey, all right, we really making stuff happen. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just hate the feeling that, you know, for the sake of our own freedom, there's a sense of our freedom is given to us. Our opportunities are given to us. It's not like we just have them. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we can just create our own, that we have our own resources to do that. I'm like, man, well, all right, we're going to build our own festivals. All right, well, we're going to build our own stages. We're going to do our own tours. But it's like, we don't want to divide it even more than what it already is. And so at the end of the day, it's like, all right, how do we come together? How do we not only expose the divide that's already there, but how do we create a solution for those who are saying, look, man, I've been performing music, I've been selling CDs, records, I'm out selling records and streaming more than some of your favorite artists right now, but I can't get no love on any of these stages.
Wow.
What else do I got to do? You know what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, you just question, like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Yeah. Is it the way I look? You know, like, I mean, you know, you question, all right, are we threats? Are we pets to people? Like, what is that? You know, and so, you know, you just really question a lot of things. I'm in a space right now in my life where I'm just like, I'm calling wrong for what it is, and I'm trying to provide truth and solutions to wherever I can find them. So I know I just said a whole lot, but but the conversation is such a big one, and there's only so much you can say, you know, in such little time. So
I want to read a couple more tweets. Mm-hmm. You said, if we want hard truths in our content, the community and culture receiving it can't be so wishy-washy about the hard realities we face. I salute the artists finding that freedom and not feeling that they have to live in some pre-made mode of what it means to be a Christian artist. Freedom is saying go, listen to God, and be led by your convictions given by God, not man. So I say this to our culture: give us our freedom. Let artists be artists and create. Give us space to be 100 without threatening our support. So to the culture, if you want great albums, give us space to have great conversations. Open your doors and put the stones away so that we can talk. That part,
I said a lot.
Yeah, you said a whole lot, bro. Was that the thought process to the fans, or is that the thought process to the industry, the gatekeepers? Or was that kind of both?
It was both.
It was both.
It was definitely both. It was to the stakeholders, but also to the consumer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, stakeholders, you say you want change in your a change in the culture. You want to bring in different kinds of people. You want to change the world, but you won't allow the conversation to happen,
to take place.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you know, in one sense, I forgot who said it. It was a brother of mine I was having a conversation with. I forgot who said it, but he was like, you're willing to talk about how bad drugs are and how bad alcohol is and how bad being unfaithful to your spouse is, but you don't want to talk about injustice.
Yeah.
You don't want to talk about racism.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to talk
good.
about the stuff that is active and loud today. Like, it's like there's almost a culture created of safe things to talk about that's acceptable, when in reality it's like, man, what do you do about the narrative of stuff that's happening every day to people? You know what I'm saying? And in that, you know, that's why, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, that's why you have a lot of black people feeling like Christianity ain't for them.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people saying, I'm done, because there's been a culture created where this conversation is not acceptable. Where this conversation, we can't have this conversation because we end up looking like the angry black man, or we end up looking like we hate white people and stuff. And it's like, that's not the case. It's just that why is there, every time we try to bring up this conversation, it's like, oh man, no, this, you know, you talk this, you know, it's like, bro, we can move on from this conversation once you acknowledge the fact that this conversation is needed.
Yep.
We can move on once we discuss the things that are continuously happening.
And
it
how
may
to
not happen to
remedy
you.
it.
Right, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like it may
Yeah.
not happen to you, but it happens to a group of people.
Yep.
And, you know, my goal is to at least start the conversation so that we can find solutions after the conversation. So, but yeah, that was to the consumer and to the, you know, to the stakeholders. You gotta let people talk.
Yeah.
And you gotta give room for that kind of truth. If not, then it's just like, well, I guess you really don't want the truth.
A word you used in here several times was freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What does freedom look like for you? And do you feel free right now?
Man, freedom looks like, well, to me, freedom looks like, man, I have the ability to do what I feel like God has called me to do without feeling like somebody has to give it to me.
Wow.
And without feeling like if I did what I feel like God has called me to do, feel like I'm not penalized for the burdens that's been put inside
Sure.
of me. That's not freedom. That's been put on a chain and somebody yanking that chain when you know, like you in trouble or something. Freedom is when you're not, in a sense, putting time out for you standing up for what you believe in. In other words, time out can look like, no, you can't perform here no more. You can't do this here no more. We're not bringing it to our church no more. It's not being penalized for what you stand up, what you believe in, but for people to actually create space and room for that conversation of, hey, I heard you say such and such. These moments, I heard you say such and such. So what were you thinking when you said that, or what came to mind when you said these things? Help me understand, because there's a conversation I haven't been a part of, in which I don't understand the ins and outs of what you're talking about. So help me understand that. And so, yeah, so that's the answer to the first one. The second one you asked about freedom.
Do you feel free?
Do I feel free? In many aspects, yes, but in many aspects, no. You already know. If I just spoke my mind fully right now, bro, it's going to open up a can of worms. I have to consciously be careful of what I have to say.
Even in having this conversation.
I have to consciously censor my own heart, you know what I'm saying? Censor my own mouth, filter so much just so I don't say the wrong thing and have people go on a rabbit trail and miss the mark, miss what I'm trying to say. I don't always feel that kind of freedom. You know, and I know a lot of brothers be like, hey, bro, you are free, bro. Derek says it the most. Like, he's like, bro, you free. Go do what you feel like God's calling you to do. And I'm like, man, I want to. But there's still this sense of political game that I have to play.
Yeah, bro.
With either other labels or either other platforms or whatever. It's like, I remember this one time I just wanted to work with another artist, and it was like, no, man, his label not gonna let you do it because the label doesn't make music like da-da-da.
Wow.
We don't want our artist branding with other artists that do this kind of music. And I was like, dang, okay, all right, fine, cool. You know, cool, keep it. But
the artist wanted to do the music, but it was the man.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, well, just by the nature of my music, I guess we're not gonna work. It's cool,
Yeah.
you know. But you know, in many aspects I do feel free, but in many I don't as well. You know what I'm saying? I still feel like if I just said what I wanted to say, I'm gonna be penalized. My record sales will be penalized. My streaming will be penalized. My you know, the amount of people that come out to my shows is gonna be penalized. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a feel it some way. I mean, we've seen it happen with our brother Craig.
That was where I was getting ready to go there.
And what I mean by that is when you're a guy who stands up for real for what you believe in, people say, no, I'm not with that. And they bounce. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's not ride or die. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not. And I'm not saying like you ride for what you feel is wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying if there's a difference in opinion or perspective, have a conversation and try to understand where that person is coming from. Yeah. Don't just chunk the deuces just because you say something or they say something that you disagree with. Try to understand where they're coming from. That's why I feel like a lot of times on the subject of racism, I'm like, there's more people talking than listening. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, just listen to the people who have to deal with it every day. Don't just keep talking and saying it's not there. I'm like, it might not be there for you. Yeah, but it's very there for some people. So.
And you know the challenge with Lecrae, when we see what is happening in the process of happening with him, it's tough because you're like, man, he was actually able to get into some spaces and arenas that nobody else got into. Mm-hmm. And it's like to see him treated a certain way by certain people because of certain things, it's if I'm honest, it puts a fear. Yeah. That man, if this happened to him, it's gonna happen to me. Imagine what could happen to me.
Right. And the thing was with Craig, and you know, I'm not all about having interviews and Craig. We talk about Craig. Sure. But like one thing about Craig is, by God's grace, Craig has the ability to talk about certain things and not have to worry about so much of a penalty for saying what he's saying, because it's like, man, he's created such a strong base. Right. And so it's like if he has a good amount of fans, it's like, nah, I don't know if I rock with Craig no more. And it's like, well,
he still got a lot of fans.
He still got a platform. You know what I'm saying? But Canon doesn't have the same. Yeah. That's the lack of freedom I'm talking about. Where I'm like, man, if I say what I say, I don't feel like I have the same amount of support. Where if my support was taken away, I can still continue to do what I want to do. And I'm not. And what I'm not saying is, I'm not saying I'm gonna just shut up because I just want to keep doing what I want to do, and I'm going to just sell out and just be this guy who bites his tongue all the time just so he can feed his family through music. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is there is an amount of hesitation to speak on certain things, primarily because people will not sit and have the conversation to understand the other side. That's good. And so I'm like, yo, we got to open that door. That's good. Otherwise, man, we just gonna end up rotating the same music with no truth. And when we dealing with real life, you know, it's a narrative nobody else is talking about, because nobody wants to have that conversation, and I'm willing to have it, you know. But
do you think like more roundtable discussions with people of different perspectives, whether public, private, do you think that will help? I know, I mean, you even mentioned this in the meet and greet, is in certain arenas there needs to be more diversity behind the scenes in terms of the decision making, so people can kind of understand some different perspectives.
Bruh, we saw Dove post. Dove's post, like Dove's Facebook post.
That was outrageous.
You know what I'm saying? That alone is enough to show there isn't enough diverse perspective in those rooms. Right. Somebody should have caught that.
Somebody.
But this the thing though. Why does it take a multi-million-dollar company to show that? You know what I'm saying? How come we can't show that with the smaller platforms that we have in our Christian markets? You know what I'm saying?
And even here's the thing about the Dove thing. Even if you didn't have a lot of diversity in the room, there still should have been somebody that was just like, that just don't look right. Even if it wasn't another African American or a Hispanic or, you know.
And when I'm saying Doves, I'm not saying the Dove Awards.
The Dove Soap Company.
The Dove Soap Company. I mean, check it out. They put out a post. I don't.
Matter of fact, we'll put it up on the screen here so you can see it.
I don't want to mix that up. Because we are talking in the context of Christian music industry, and then you do have Doves, like Dove Awards, but. Yeah, different context.
Crazy, bro. Crazy. Yeah. So listen, man, I got to be respectful of your time. I know we over a little bit. Yeah. And you guys are moving around.
just catch up. We ain't talked in so long.
It has been a while, bro. Yeah. What do you have coming up after the Sessions tour, man? Because it feels like, to me from the outside, I told Daraj this earlier. Doc got y'all locked in a room somewhere. Y'all just it's like a Motown hit factory, an RMG hit factory. Y'all just cranking out joints.
We're working on the album. I'm working on the album. It's coming. I can't say when, but it's coming. But also, man, December after the Sessions tour, going on tour with Sean Locke and
Nice.
Rose. So we gonna try to hit some more markets, man. But excuse me. What I don't want people to get from this interview is that Canon is angry at white people, or that Canon is frustrated with our culture of Christianity. I'm not, or that Canon is just fed up. And I told the brother today, I'm like, no, I ain't fed up. Well, there's a sense I am fed up, but I haven't given up. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
There's a real frustration there, but I haven't given up. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm just like, I'm fighting for the conversation. I'm fighting to have the conversation. I'm not fighting to point the finger. I'm not fighting to say, you've kept your foot on our necks for so long. That's not this conversation. The conversation is, hey, there's a divide, and there's a lack of equal opportunities in certain ways for artists like for me or for even people that own got their own radio shows. It's like, man, and so.
I never told y'all how I be feeling boxed out.
Hey. You know what I'm saying? So, but I ain't gonna keep y'all too much. But I mean, we need a part 2 of this conversation.
Yeah.
But I want people to feel encouraged, man. You don't have to feel like you stuck here and that you can't move on or that you can't spread your wings. Like, no, this is such a big world. There's an audience for you. Like, God has set that out for you. We just have to find out where it is. So.
That's what it is, man.
Thank you.
Hey, man, love you, brother.
Thank you, bro. We definitely got to have part 2 because I know I done said some stuff already. That's like, we probably got to edit all it. But, yeah, man, this is just my heart, my passion, man. I just want to see equality on all ends, not just where it's blatantly obvious, but, man, even in the smallest places because it affects everybody.
Absolutely,
So,
bro.
yeah.
It's Canon and Wado, man. This interview is brought to you by our sponsor, Devin Turner. This MC and pastor is not only putting out great music, but he's doing phenomenal work in his community and abroad. Check out his new album, Luminary, available on all digital outlets. For more info, visit his website at devinturner.org. It's DJ Wado, of course, with Ezekiel Azonwu,
Hey, what's up with it?
poet extraordinaire.
Yeah, man.
See, I'm gonna keep saying Ezekiel Azonwu because I can say it now. I got it. I got it right.
Yeah, you almost there, man.
Oh, I didn't even get it
Almost there,
right. How you doing, though,
Man,
man?
I'm great, man. Really good to be in your presence one more time, man.
Hey, man, it's always good to be with you, bro.
Yeah.
I remember, man. I remember when you first had this vision for the Poets in Autumn tour, and you hit a bunch of us up.
Yeah.
Looking for promoters and you know what I mean?
You're one of the first people I called.
Wow.
And you gave me tons and tons of advice, man. You gave me a lot of leads, and I still remember that conversation to this day. I was about to pick up my daughter from school. I remember that.
Oh, man, that's crazy, bro. I didn't realize I was one of the first, man. But it to me, just hearing what you guys were trying to do, it felt like, man, this one, it needs to happen.
Yeah.
But 2, it felt real special, man. And I think just to see it blossom in the way it is, man, you guys are going international and, packing out venues all over the place, bro.
We're super, super gracious. We didn't know what was going on. As when I called you, I had just finished Googling how to do a tour. And I just hit anybody who even remotely seemed like they were close to that field. And I happened to have your number by the grace of God. And I'm just like, what do I do, man? And so God has definitely been leading. We made a lot of mistakes, but God has been just faithful, man. People have really been supporting, and we're just like thankful to God for it.
Yeah, I mean, talk about even like Nehemiah Weaver and his company, man.
Yeah, Kingdom Promotions, man. If it wasn't for Kingdom Promotions, this would not be popping. The first year I had hit up Nehemiah with Kingdom Promotions as just to see. He was just one of the promoters I hit up. By the end of that whole thing, I'm just like, oh, what he had to offer, the excellence that they come with, is just, you can't deny that, man. And he's been doing this thing, man, from the Unashamed tours, KB, Tripoli, Andy. If you've ever been to any of them shows, man, he's a social club. He's put them on, and so like I was just really honored to work with him. He loves what we do, and so we share. there and a lot of stuff. And he wouldn't say it to everybody else, but he loves me, man. That dude loves me as a brother. I'm putting this on tape so he can see that. He loves me as a brother. So we got that bond, and it's working well, man.
Man, that's dope, bro. That's dope. Yeah. One of the things that I think for me, man, whenever I kind of seen you guys perform before, it was just you come on stage, there's a mic there might be a scarf on the mic. Yeah. You kind of recite your poem. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. And it's like, you know, man, you guys got sets, and I mean it's a show.
Yeah, man. So originally, that's been the idea. The underground spoken word poetry scene has always been kind of snap your fingers. You got the microphone, and that's dope. We love that, and actually, you know, that's where our heart is. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to convey this gospel message, social issues, all of these things that we think are relevant in ways that really hit you in the face and last. Yeah. And so, if it means that we're gonna have to demonstrate it in a way that's unorthodox, man, we're willing to do that. And so that's why we're doing everything we can to step outside of the box and do things that haven't been done before within the spoken word genre.
Yeah, I think, man, like, you know, probably one of the biggest, I would say, thoughts and just issues relevant to you guys' audience right now, and really all audiences, is social justice, race. Yeah. I mean, you guys is hitting that head on with your content.
Oh, man. You know, so what we don't want to do is try to tiptoe around the hard topics and think that, you know, people say, just pray, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, God got it in control. Yeah, but God also commissions us into this world to be his lights and shining examples. I think what we try to do is not try to manufacture a solution for these issues, because we already have a solution. In scriptures, the solution is presented to us. I always talk about how if we were to examine how did God take on social injustice, do we think about that? Has there ever been social injustice in scriptures? Has there ever been oppression in scriptures? And then we go all the way back to Exodus, and we see God himself telling Moses, I have heard the cry of my people who have been oppressed. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. Yep. And that's what we're here to do. Yeah. We have been keeping our ears to the streets. We're in the hood. Like, some of us actually walk through the hood and we're hearing this cry. We go through it ourselves. So what are we doing? We're not going to ignore it. We're going to do what God did and hear that. And we convey that. And what he said, he's going to step in. He sent someone to go out, to step off of his, out of his realm of comfortability, and to walk and to live amongst these people and to experience and to struggle with them. And that's what we're supposed to do. Like, we get down there and we have these conversations afterwards. Man, people are bleeding. Like, people have lost loved ones, and we want to be able to walk life with them, whether black or white. We have to have a heart that says, I'm willing to hear you. I'm willing to understand. And if that's the first step, white or black, the conservative evangelical church, we have to step off our stages of comfortability and hear what's happening. And we see the last example of this happening. Jesus Christ, who stepped out of comfortability and walked amongst men, struggled with man, and brought that solution, which was himself. And that's what we're here to do, man. Give people Jesus.
That's good, bro. Yeah. You're the way you communicate, you're so demonstrative. Yeah. You know, when you're on stage, it's very theatrical, but I feel like it pulls people in, particularly when you're talking about those difficult, things like that.
Man, I've always, my wife calls me a drama king, so I mean, it's natural to me to just do the most, man. Sure. And I'm willing to lay it all out there, man, for the message, man. So if you see me up there, you're not seeing me, you're seeing whatever I'm trying to convey. And if you see anything less than that, then I'm failing as a messenger.
Yeah. That's good, bro.
Yeah, man. It's time for me to kind of turn the question on you, man. You just broke the interview because you was like, man, I think I hear my phone ring. I'm like, no, he didn't. He was like, I think it's my wife. I'm like, I know exactly what this is. His son calling, Daddy, you gonna make it home? He's like, I got you. That's why I'm rushing out this interview so I can see you and celebrate this birthday. But that's what I'm talking about. So even though we're talking about the tour and career stuff and all that, man, family first, man. That's what we do.
Well, I mean, look, you do that better than anybody, man. I see all your Twitter posts and Instagram.
But this is off camera. I'm talking about off, and that's what matters. Yeah. Off camera is what matters, man. And so it blessed me to see that you're able to put it down, to put your passion down and say, hey, what does my family need from me?
I appreciate
inspiration,
that,
man. Thank you.
You know what it is, bro? I mean, and I know you get this, but our families are our first ministries, bro. Man. And it's one of the things that I've learned, and I think this is the way God has ordained it like this for a reason. When my family situation isn't straight, like when me and my wife got tension, or me and my kids got tension, everything else don't flow right.
No progression, man. For real, man. Like, nah, for real. Imagine like everything going well on this side, and then family is in shambles. How do you have to have a seared conscience to be able to move forward, like with a smile?
Hey, man, one of the things that I've vowed early on in this was that I'm not going to harm my family or lose my family as a result of Christian hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not. I remember, and not to hijack this, but let me share this story.
Yeah.
You know, a couple years in, when I first started Wado Radio, I had a summer where, bro, I was taking every show. If you called me and you had a bucket of chicken,
yeah,
I was coming.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I knew that was how you need to build a brand.
Wow.
Like, that's been proven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, you know, you got to tour. It's like what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
And some of the events I was getting paid well for them. Some of them I wasn't, but I was going. Wow. And the problem with that was we just had my oldest son who just called, and my wife was like, I feel like a single parent right now.
Oh my God.
Like, we can't keep this pace up.
Been there.
Like, I don't care what you got going out here. I don't care how much money you making out here. I don't care how your social media is growing, how you're connecting with people. Like, and so I had to make a decision right then and there, like, you know, how we gonna manage this? Yeah. You know, so I still travel, I still tour, but definitely not the way it was moving in. And, you know, I had to get counsel from some people on it, but it's, you know, it is what it is, bro.
At the end of the day, far more fruitful, man, when you're walking on that path, man. I love that. Being intentional about family, bro. That's where I'm at, man. All this stuff should be a fruit and result of me kind of doing what I'm supposed to do at home.
Yeah. I see it with you and your family, though, man. Like, you guys inspire me so much. Your Instagram post, your wife's post, all that. Yeah. I follow you both, man. And you guys inspire me a ton because, I mean, listen, bro. Is anybody that's married will tell you being married is not easy.
Nah, it's not. Me and my wife I just looked at my text and we kind of coming down off of kind of a heated discussion. I'm just like, baby, I was supposed to. I'm like, okay, I got to change. I got to say I'm sorry. I got to humble myself and I got to reapproach the situation. This is life. This is reality right now, man. It's not, and it's cool what people see on Instagram, and a lot of people are inspired by what they see, but what they don't know is they're just seeing snapshots. Of my life. But the truth about it is my marriage is working well now because I learned a lot from the things of not to do, man. And there are things that I don't do now. Like, so when wifey calls, I respond immediately. You know what I'm saying? I take care of that. Oh,
I wish we could talk with Ezekiel more, but this is right before the Poets and Autumn tour, and I know they got their VIP. And look, I don't want PIA fans coming in here. I know, bro. Because y'all fans is passionate, bro. Passionate. Hey, but listen, real talk, just real quick.
Yes, sir.
After this tour, man, I know you're going on tour with Tina Campbell. And what's some of the other stuff you got going on, man? Yeah,
man, the tour with Tina Campbell is popping. Next year, we actually have some new stuff happening with the Poets and Autumn tour. This is my baby right now, but I'm really trying to look into pushing my wife and, you know, her brand and the things that she's trying to do, man. I'm so excited for what she has going, man. And so my passion is now kind of shifting and saying, baby, I want to see you progress. So I'm going to be like a cameraman, whatever I need to, administrative assistant, whatever I need to do to push her dream, man.
Man, that's great, bro.
Yes, sir.
Man, salute to you, brother.
Man,
and I'm seriously, man, I'm so happy for you, bro.
Thank you so much,
You know what I mean? It's especially a black man doing this, bro.
Thank you so
Real
much.
talk, bro.
I appreciate you, man. I love, man. Let me run out there before they kill me, too.
Absolutely, man, because I don't want them running up on me.
Thank you.
Everybody lends an ear. I want to thank you in advance for letting us make it clear to y'all on the Wado Radio Show.
Thanks for tuning in to another Wado Radio full interview. This was made possible in part by our affiliate, Covenant Eyes. The internet can be a dangerous place for unguarded eyes and hearts. Covenant Eyes provides the services that protect against the evils and temptations that can be found on the World Wide Web. Established over a decade ago, Covenant Eyes is the pioneer in internet accountability software, empowering its members to maintain their online integrity. I personally use them on every device that I have: computer, iPhone, iPad, whole 9 yards. Don't go another day without guarding your eyes, your mind, and your heart. Visit wadoradio.com/resources for more information about Covenant Eyes. And if you sign up via our affiliate link at wadoradio.com/resources, we'll give you a month free. Covenant Eyes, trusted by thousands of families, including mine.
Thank you for downloading the Wado Radio Podcast. If you love what you're hearing, leave a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear your feedback, and it helps expose others to the show. Thank you, and God bless.